Hey everyone, it's TJ with Roller Skate Universe. I know it's been a long time, but I have a project that just hit my bench and I figured I'd share it with everyone. So stay tuned because this one I haven't seen done anywhere else and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Alright, so the backstory to this is really simple. I had a customer come to my rink last night and drop off a pair of skates that they just want rehabbed. And I've known the customer for about 6 years. Basically, she just wants me to take them apart or whatever I need to do to go over them and just make sure that they are ready to go for more outdoor adventures. And these were a purpose-built outdoor-only skate. And so while I was here deciding to take everything apart, I figured I'd show how to clean and condition a leather skate boot, which I haven't seen really covered anywhere else. So stick around and learn something. The first thing we're going to do though is we're going to take some before shots so we can see just how bad these things are to compare it later on for the glow up. Okay, the other night these came into me. There's some classics, classic Rydell RS1000s. They're mounted to some rival plates with some Crypto Route 70 wheels. And customer states they just need to be gone over. They need new wheels and bearings, which they bought at our local rink, which is the Rollercade in San Antonio, Texas. And noticing these need a lot of attention, a lot of cleanup. Some of this looks like it could just be dirt. It could be mold. I'm not sure. But either way, we are going to get into cleaning and re-oiling the leather on these classic boots and just overall just making the boot look and feel so much better than what it was and bringing it back into a normal, usable state of repair. So stay tuned. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and bore you with taking the wheels and bearings and, oh yes, I'm taking the plates off of this. Because you all probably know how that works, and that's just going to be boring. And I don't even want to film it and speed it up and take you through all that. So we're just going to go ahead and there we go. There it is. All right, now we've got the plate off of here, and you can see there's a lot of something. I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to be totally honest. These are an outdoor-only build that the customer has. They've definitely got their money's worth out of them, and they still have a lot of life in them. Plenty of time to kick around on these things, but you can just see there's so much dirt and debris and stuff like that. And I'm going to show you how to take that off and recondition the leather. I'm going to tell you what products to use, where you might be able to find a lot of it and everything, and even show you how I do it. Okay, first thing we're going to need to do is we're obviously going to need to clean the boot. And to do that, you're going to need to initially knock off any dirt or anything like that that's attached to it in order to start actually cleaning the boot. Now, what are we going to use to actually clean the boot? Well, it's really simple. Obviously, we're going to need some type of soap. And what better than a purpose-made leather soap than this guy right here? I like to use Kiwi brand saddle soap. In the States, in the shoe section of a Walmart, I'm not sure where in other countries, but I know in Walmart is the easiest way to find that because we have them everywhere, right? And you can find this in the shoe section, and it's got a really pleasing scent. Now, when you do buy this, it is pretty cheap, and this has lasted me a few years. This is probably about 4 years old. I think I got this back in like 2019, so like 5 years old. But what you can do is, you pick this up and you want to open it. There's this little tab right here, and you push on it and you twist it, and it lifts up the lid. And this is all that's left is this ring, but it's like it's even to the touch. It's very slick. and it smells incredible. I love the smell of saddle soap. It's a very, very pleasing scent. And yeah, it's just all around awesome product. Something that's been used for, you know, a long time in the leather industry, leather shoes, obviously saddles and tack, you know, so it's a staple to have. If you have a leather boot, you should have this. Always. I always recommend that if you own a leather boot, you have some saddle soap. Next thing, you're going to need something to complement that and to apply that. And what that's going to be is it's going to be a horsehair brush. This one here is also made by a Kiwi brand, or yet another horsehair brush. Either way, they work a treat. They're tough enough to scrub the dirt off and really build a good lather on your saddle soap, on your leather, but also get a lot of the debris off. So they have them in different shapes and sizes. I think I bought this one because I couldn't find this one. But all in all, you should have this, because if you have a saddle soap, you're going to need something to apply it. And using like a rag or something, it really isn't going to work very well. I've tried for decades. The next thing you're obviously, and this is very obvious, you're going to need it. You're going to need microfiber towels, microfiber cloths. You can find those at Walmart and stuff like that as well. Same thing with these. Also in the shoe section, accompanying the saddle soap, you're going to find those horsehair shoe brushes. And also last but certainly not least is I get this pure Neatsfoot oil. I ordered this one online, or actually I bought this from Tandy Leather, and I have an account with them, but I don't do leather work anymore. But this stuff's great. I will show you how to use this later. This is how we're going to recondition and re-moisturize the leather after we clean the leather. All right, so the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need a bowl of water. It doesn't have to be hot or warm or cold, just water. And, you know, it doesn't require a lot. You're not going to need a lot for this. Obviously, you're going to need your, you know, your work pieces, your boots, you know. That's the patient right here. And just let's get a better look at that. It's pretty bad, you know. This is going to be one of those satisfying videos. So here we go. All right, you're going to take your brush and you're just going to dip it in the water a little bit. You're going to shake out a little bit of the excess. You're going to have some in there. You're going to need some. Next, you're going to get your leather soap, your saddle soap, and you're going to run this around inside of your saddle soap. Let's get a little bit more water. Run that around inside of the saddle soap. I think I'm actually going to need more, despite the fact that this could easily last me, you know, another couple of years. It's not like you're going to be using this all the time, because in all probability you won't. All right, I like to set my stuff down on this towel because, well, I got a wooden desk and I really don't want to mess it up. Stuff's going to fly everywhere. Just a disclaimer, when you do this, suds and stuff are going to fly everywhere. Just a teeny tiny bit more water. There we go. Now you can see we're working up a lather, and we just want to work in circular motion. And yes, it's safe to use most of the time on soles. I gotta be honest, if it's a leather sole, you really don't want to get it too wet, because leather does like to deform a little bit when wet, and we don't want to introduce moisture to the leather. Let's get a little bit more water going. You see the water starting to change color a smidge, and we're just going to keep working that in. We're just going to keep going. This is like the most boring stuff in the world, unless you're the one doing it, and then it's like, oh, this is fun, you know, because just like all those rug cleaning videos and everything else you see on other platforms, it's kind of the same effect. You get to see the transformation in real time, and that's actually the entertaining part for the user, not the person watching it. Sorry about this, guys. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and clean that sole up and get all that crud out of there. All right, let's see what we got. All right. So, all we do is we just wipe it off. That's it. All you do is you just wipe that stuff right clean off of there. Get in all the nooks and crannies. And that's the best part about using these brushes. Where the sole meets the upper, you can get down in there and get all the crap out of there, which is great. Using anything else, you're really not going to get that kind of access to these things. Let's see what we got. You ready? And here are the results. Now see, you can see the before and after right here. It's pretty substantial stuff. You know, and the lighting may not be the most flattering, but I tell you what, this is a night and day difference. Holy smokes. That's incredible. Let's see what we got. Okay, one more. Yeah, that's pretty substantial stuff right there. You can see on the bottoms, on the soles there, the difference. It's insane. Like just the amount of stuff that came off. It's pretty impressive. So I'm not going to bore you with it. We're just going to fast forward to the part where we apply our oil. Right, we have our boots completed. These are a massive night and day difference. Now that everything's all dry, massive night and day difference between what I started with and what these are now. Actually, these aren't in too bad a shape. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into oiling these. And just like human skin or anything else, you know, leather is skin. And of course, when you wash, you know, after a while, it takes the moisture out and everything, and it gets dry. And so what do? We use lotion and stuff like that on our skin to re-moisturize. And you got to do the same thing with leather, especially if it's real leather. By the way, in case I did not say this earlier, here's a disclaimer I should have posted earlier. The saddle soap is not for use on suede. Do not use the saddle soap on suede, okay? Don't do that. Don't. Alright, so now we have something called Neatsfoot oil. I'm not exactly sure offhand where it comes from, but I've been using it for decades. You know, we're going to go ahead and use one of our microfibers. It doesn't really, you know, it just needs to be relatively clean, obviously. And application is about as boring and simple as it gets. So this is going to be incredibly anticlimactic. You're going to dab some on your microfiber, and you're going to wipe that in there. And if you look close enough, you'll actually see that it's starting to dry. No, that's the leather actually soaking that oil up. Now, historically, there have been a lot of folks over the years that have came around and said, oh yeah, you can use any household cooking oil. Don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that, okay? And here's why, because those oils can actually rot and stuff like that, and they can do a lot of damage to leather. Other thing that you'll hear a lot of older folks say, well, use mink oil. Mink oil is not bad. There's some, it has the tendency to do some weird things. Apparently the leather, I don't know. I've heard all sorts of stories. I've had a lot of cobblers say don't use it. It's a waste of money. It is very expensive. And I was always told, you know, don't use that. Use Neatsfoot oil. And for a while, Rydell, especially in the 90s and 2000s, when they still put care manuals in their in the box with all their products that they made, almost all, and certainly not their fake leather products. But if you bought any of their true leather skates, so any of the 95 series, etc., they would have a care manual in there, and I believe it even stated to use Neatsfoot oil in there. I also remember there was some stuff about using Snow Seal, which I used to do on the soles, but that's typically something you do on an ice boot. And there was no tangible performance benefit whatsoever about doing that. In a roller application, usually you would use Snow Seal, which I do have some right here. This is just a different brand, but snowproof weatherproofing for leather, and it's basically just beeswax that you heat in with a hair dryer. I don't recommend doing that. It's pointless. I never got anything extra, no extra juice or anything out of doing it, so let's not. I usually just, I would always just do Neatsfoot oil, you know, once every 3 to 6 months if the boots lasted that long. To be honest, a lot of my boots never lasted more than 3 to 6 months. I would run them into the ground and blow the toes wide open, even on the, you know, $500, $600 custom back in the early 2000s, and I'd just wind up trashing them, or I'd call and they'd say, take them to a cobbler. I'd take them to a cobbler and they'd say they couldn't do anything with it. So then I ultimately wound up throwing a lot of 911s and 395s away. I wish I hadn't. They make a great product. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, it's good company to make a good product. I couldn't justify spending all the money. You know, they still make great products. That's cool. It also goes to show you they really don't build things like they used to. But you know, I wasn't doing, you know, just going in circles, and I was, you know, doing all the break dancing and stuff like that, spinning on my toe plugs, and you know, really just drilling the front of those boots right into the floor and having the front ends blow wide open. You know, and I think there's probably 1 or 2 of them out there still circulating amongst some old friends, but you know, you see here, it actually soaked up all this over in here, and I can rub it, and it's almost completely dry. But you see that sheen on there? Yeah, that means that's a good sign. That means this stuff's soaking up this oil. And you know, what I like to do is I like to apply 2 or 3 just real super light coats. When it starts looking like it's dry again, I go over it one more time. And you don't really want to over oil it. You kind of can, and you know, yes, you'll make them buttery soft, but you know, there's kind of a weird limit to it. You know, I wouldn't want to make it too soft, you know, and possibly risk any sort of structural integrity. But yep, Neatsfoot oil, there's a few different manufacturers. This one is Dr. Jackson's. This one actually came from Tandy Leather. So if you have a Tandy Leather, or you just go online and you buy from them, if you do leather work, which I used to when I was in the Army, and I did a little bit beforehand because no one would work on my boots back in the day, and that's how I taught myself. Then it's a great resource for leatherworking supplies and all kinds of other crazy cool stuff. But yeah, that's about it. That's really all you really need to do to maintain a leather boot professionally, and really keep them serviceable for a very, very long time. This actually came out pretty good, and it's still soaking everything up. So you know, it probably has never been oiled ever. So we'll probably do a couple more coats on it. Well, I've already started to mount them back up, and hopefully I gave these things a new lease on life. That's going to do it for this installment of Roller Skate Universe. Tune in next time. Happy skating.